World News Tonight this Sunday. Possible criminal fallout from the Enron crash. Confusion in Karachi over the fate of reporter Daniel Pearl.
Please remove any metal objects from your pocket.
Gridlock at the Gridiron. Ticket holders face super security at the Super Bowl. And the stadium name game that's lost its luster.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight Sunday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carol Simpson. Tonight, members of Congress who have read an internal report commissioned by Enron say some high-level executives at the former energy trading giant could face criminal charges. And we have late-breaking word that former Enron chairman Kenneth Lay has changed his mind and will not appear tomorrow before the Senate Commerce Committee. ABC's Linda Douglas joins us now on Capitol Hill to tell us more. Linda?
Carol, that news came as a very big surprise, and that Senate hearing has now been canceled. In the wake of the internal Enron report, Ken Lay's lawyer says that Ken Lay can no longer get a fair hearing, he believes. He sent a letter to the committee saying Lay was disturbed by public statements members of Congress made on television this morning. Republicans and Democrats who have read the internal report say the evidence suggests a crime may have been committed.
I think we're finding what may clearly end up being security fraud.
There seemed to me to be a kind of a culture of corporate corruption here.
The report found that Enron inflated its earnings by $1 billion, nearly twice what was previously known. And in some cases, it appeared that the company was selling assets back and forth to itself, claiming a profit each time. The report says some top Enron employees set up partnerships with each other in order to make themselves rich.
Executives were literally recruiting people into what essentially could be described almost as a conspiracy against the corporation itself.
Former Chief Financial Officer Andrew Fastow, who gets most of the blame in the report, is expected to take the Fifth Amendment before Congress this week. Other top officials, such as ex-CEO Ken Lay, say they didn't know what was going on. In Houston today, some former employees were skeptical.
These are very intelligent people. I find it very hard to believe that a large part of them didn't have any idea.
Enron's top officials say their accountant, Arthur Andersen, signed off on the questionable business deals. Andersen insists its accountants did not have all the facts. Today, the firm appointed a former Federal Reserve Board chairman, Paul Volcker, to recommend some sweeping reforms.
Real people got hurt. We understand that. And the question isn't, what could we have done better? Or what do we do wrong or not do wrong? The question is, what can we do better?
Senator Byron Dorgan, who was to chair tomorrow's hearing, told ABC News that he is very disappointed by Lay's decision. He says Lay owes it to the public and to the Congress to tell everything he knows. But Senator Dorgan says that now that the internal report points some blame on Ken Lay, Lay may be less willing to talk, Carol.
Thank you very much, Linda. ABC's Linda Douglas reporting from Capitol Hill. Today, Arthur Andersen said it will make changes in the way it does business. Enron's collapse has triggered calls for stricter regulations for all accounting firms. But as ABC's John Yang reports, whether those regulations will be passed is far from certain.
One of the changes Andersen announced today is a ban on selling consulting services to companies whose financial statements they audit.
We will decline to provide certain services, a substantial amount of services, to our audit clients.
Analysts say playing a dual role, as Andersen did for Enron, is a conflict of interest. Andersen may have turned a blind eye to questionable accounting practices at Enron to protect its lucrative consulting contracts.
If auditors are compromised, they will be less effective watchdogs, and they will tend to defer to management more often and to permit dangerously aggressive financial policies to be followed.
2 years ago, Andersen and other firms enlisted friends in Congress to block the Securities and Exchange Commission from banning this kind of conflict of interest. Some lawmakers even threatened the SEC's budget.
The reaction was much more severe, much more pronounced than on any issue I dealt with.
Again and again, the industry has used its clout on Capitol Hill to block stricter government oversight. The industry has given more than $27 million to congressional candidates since 1995. New York Senator Charles Schumer, a Democrat, received the most, more than $329,000. In the House, Commerce Committee Chairman Billy Tozan, a Republican, got over $143,000. The industry says it has no apologies for making its voice heard.
As to our involvement and our 340,000 member involvement in the political process, yes, we're involved in the political process. We have things to say.
Although the accounting industry itself has agreed to a ban, broader reform will remain in doubt as long as there are close ties between federal regulators and the industry they regulate. John Yang, ABC News, Washington.
Today, the Bush administration leveled more charges against Iran. In his State of the Union address, President Bush named Iran as part of a, quote, axis of evil, a statement that drew fierce criticism internationally. Today, top U.S. security officials, including Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld, responded to critics.
We have any number of reports that Iran has been permissive and allowed transit through their country of al-Qaeda. We have any number of reports more recently that they have been supplying arms in Afghanistan to various elements in the country.
Secretary Rumsfeld also said the White House is certain that Iran, along with Iraq and North Korea, has links with terrorist networks. In news overseas, the fate of kidnapped American journalist Daniel Pearl remains unknown after what was another confusing day in Karachi. Tonight, the Wall Street Journal believes its missing reporter is still alive. ABC's Jeffrey Kaufman is in Islamabad tonight, live. Jeffrey, why so much confusion today?
Carol, the confusion came late Sunday when police in Karachi said they had found the body of Daniel Pearl. About an hour later, though, they said they had made a terrible mistake. They have not found Pearl's body. Meanwhile, Karachi police say that with assistance from U.S. investigators, they have determined that of the raft of emails purporting to come from Pearl's kidnappers, all but the first two are hoaxes. The first two, as you may recall, came with photographs of Pearl in captivity, and police say an identifying marker that has not been seen in subsequent emails. If that is correct, that means they have not heard from Pearl's abductors since last Wednesday, which may explain why today Pakistan appointed a new team to lead the investigation and put its top anti-terrorism expert at the helm. Carol?
Thank you very much. Jeffrey Kaufman reporting from Islamabad. In other news from overseas tonight, a strong earthquake rocks Turkey. Dozens of people are dead, more than 150 injured. The magnitude 6 earthquake also destroyed more than 150 buildings. Officials say many more casualties were avoided since it is Sunday and most shops were closed. Yasser Arafat today pledged an end to attack on Israeli civilians. In an opinion piece in the New York Times, the Palestinian leader said he condemned terrorist violence against Israeli citizens. Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, who meets with President Bush later this week, called Arafat, quote, irrelevant. In Northern Ireland today, at a rally in Londonderry, thousands of people marked one of that country's darkest days. Bloody Sunday took place 30 years ago when British soldiers killed 13 civil rights marchers. Back in this country, historic security at one of America's most popular sports rituals, the Super Bowl. Thousands of ticket holders were kept waiting at the gates, as ABC's Mike Von Fremd in New Orleans tells us. Mike, how bad was it?
Carol, a bit hectic. Now, this is the first time that the Secret Service has been called in to protect a sporting event. People showed up 5.5 hours before kickoff. The lines were several city blocks long, but tempers never got short. As 76,000 fans poured into the streets outside the Superdome, the speakers overhead blared the warning that getting past the 8-foot-high barbed wire fence that surrounds the stadium would be a hands-on experience.
The security checks will consist of a light patting of your person.
There were no exceptions. Young and old were patted down.
Ladies, you can come around to your right. Guys, stay to the left.
They were then sent to another line to pass through metal detectors, but no one seemed to mind.
So far, the security around here has been very good. I've been impressed by the National Guard and the police in the New Orleans area, so I'm feeling better, but I'm still a little bit anxious.
We feel pretty safe here, safer here than anywhere else, probably.
The airspace over the Superdome is now closed to all commercial aircraft and being patrolled by military fighters. This is the most secure sporting event ever, and what fans experience today is what Super Bowls could all be like in the future. Carol?
Mike Von Fremd in New Orleans. Thank you so much for reporting. Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, how the Enron scandal may affect rates for electric customers in the West, the fight at the pharmacy counter between some senior citizens and the Bush administration, and what's in a name when it comes to stadiums.
This is World News Tonight Sunday, brought to you by Kellogg's.
Well, I would count calories, but, you know, I'm really not that good at math.
I'm not trendy enough for a trendy diet.
I'd like to run a marathon, but it's quite a long distance.
I diet sometimes, but only in moderation.
If these people can lose weight, so can you. A recent study by a major university found that having a bowl of Kellogg's Special K or Kellogg's Smart Start for 2 meals a day for 2 weeks could help you lose up to 6 pounds. Diet and exercise are important parts of a healthy lifestyle.
I feel great.
Moo. Everybody's talking about Gateway's stylish flat panel monitors, and now you can get one for yourself when you call 1-800-GATEWAY and ask about the Gateway 500 SE. This computer has everything you need, including an Intel Pentium 4 processor, a CD burner, and a flat panel, all for just $9.99. So call 1-800-GATEWAY today and add a little style to your workspace. That's 1-800-GATEWAY.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Vioxx, a prescription medicine available from your doctor. Or call 1-888-VIOXX22 for information. Vioxx.
Wake up! It's time for 7-Eleven. Start with a cup of fresh brewed 7-Eleven coffee. Then grab one of our hot breakfast sandwiches. Or choose from our bakery selections delivered fresh daily. And get your morning going. I work nights. Oops. Oh, thank heaven.
It's a different kind of Fixodent with no artificial flavors or colors. It's Fixodent free. Fixodent holds stronger, holds longer than any other free adhesive. Fixodent and forget it with Fixodent free.
I've always liked natural things. That's why I use Beano. Only Beano helps prevent gas from problem foods with a natural food enzyme. It's not a drug. So if you prefer natural ingredients like I do, prevent gas with Beano.
4 prison escapees, 2 of them convicted of murder, are still on the run, possibly in Oklahoma. The Texas convicts are said to have left jail clothes at a burglarized home in southern Oklahoma, where they apparently slept and ate. The fugitives overpowered a jail guard Monday night and have been at large for 6 days. From Houston, the home of Enron, an aftershock all the way to Oregon. Utility customers are feeling the effects of the collapse of the energy giant. ABC's Judy Muller explains.
Add Oregonians to the list of those who find themselves caught up in the Enron mess. Enron owns Portland General Electric. In an effort to raise $1.5 billion in cash, Enron plans to sell PGE to another Oregon utility, Northwest Natural Gas, which is getting the money through a bank loan.
The problem is Enron wants cash, not stock. And when you borrow money, when you leverage this kind of deal, somebody has to pay for that, and the only people to pay for it are the ratepayers of Oregon.
Electric rates in the Portland area are among the highest in the nation. Consumer groups charge that the sale of PGE saddles customers with so much debt that their rates will remain high for years. But the president of Northwest Natural Gas says the merger will result in a more efficient operation.
We'd like to see the debt paid down just as quickly as possible. But we also, in the package, have about $31.5 million worth of rate credits that would go to the customers in the first 6 years.
At the same time, he concedes that Enron's bankruptcy complicates things.
I think the bankruptcy court has to assure us that Enron can perform on their end of the contract. I'm confident they can do that.
The consumer groups think the current deal puts customers last after shareholders and PGE executives, who are guaranteed bonuses under the deal. PGE Vice President Pam Lesh says bonuses are a standard method used to keep managers from leaving.
We've been in the process of this about 3 years, and you would hate to lose your key people while you were in the middle of that.
Although consumer groups and utility executives differ on how long customers will have to wait for the benefits of the merger, they all agree on one thing. Few in Oregon are likely to miss Enron. Judy Muller, ABC News.
Former Vice President Al Gore is resurfacing on the political scene. At a speech this weekend to Democrats in Nashville, Gore criticized Bush administration policies on the economy and the environment. Supporters say it looks like the former vice president may be laying the groundwork for a presidential run in 2004. Tomorrow, President Bush will formally present his budget proposal for fiscal year 2003. Part of the proposal has special significance for 40 million Americans over age 65. They are only 12% of the population, but pay for 40% of all prescription drug sales. From her meager income, 90-year-old Lily Maria Strukin has to spend at least $50 a month on medications for her heart and high blood pressure.
Last week, I didn't buy any groceries.
Millions of older Americans who don't have other insurance and are not poor enough to qualify for Medicaid can't pay for the prescription drugs they need.
There was a time when I had $45 left in my checking account, and until I got my Social Security.
Last week, President Bush, in his State of the Union address, demonstrated his concern by promising
to give seniors a sound and modern Medicare system that includes coverage for prescription drugs.
The president has proposed a plan which would give $8 billion a year to the states to help pay the prescription drug costs of about 3 million low-income seniors. It's a campaign promise he made.
We will not wait to help seniors afford prescription drugs. We will give them direct aid now by expanding and funding state assistance programs.
Under the Bush proposal, the federal government will pay 90% of the cost of the prescription drugs.
And the way he structured it or suggesting it, it will cover less than 10% of the seniors. And it won't cover them in many states because it requires the states to come up with some money, and they're all broke.
Congressman Pete Stark, as well as some Republican lawmakers, say the Bush administration needs to spend hundreds of billions of dollars to attack the problem.
You have 40 million Americans who desperately need pharmaceutical drugs, and you just give them a back of your hand slap. It's awful.
A recent ABC News poll found that more than a third of all seniors believe prescription drugs should be given top priority. Some are already gearing up for what will be a tough budget battle in Congress and in state legislatures.
This is an issue that spans the population, and we think this is going to be one of the hottest issues in the campaign if Congress does not act this year.
Seniors are among the most reliable voters. Only 12% of the population, they cast 23% of the votes in the last midterm election.
Do you vote? Oh, yes, of course I do. Yes.
Members of Congress are expected to keep an eye on that senior citizen vote when the measure comes before them later this year. Up next, the war inside Afghanistan you may not know about.
Now you can help manage your diabetes anytime, anywhere. This is Glucerna, an ideal food for people with diabetes. Grab a delicious bar as a snack, or have a shake as an occasional meal. Glucerna has the right balance of carbohydrates, fat, and protein, and it's clinically proven to help manage glucose levels. Glucerna is specially formulated to free your mind for other things. Try Glucerna. It's time for a taste of freedom.
I'm a Gold Bond Lotion woman. Chicago winters make my skin so dry, cracked, and itchy.
Ordinary moisturizers don't relieve it, but Gold Bond Lotion is medicated, so it soothes, moisturizes, and stops the itch.
Gold Bond Lotion. If it works in Chicago, it'll work anywhere.
How precise can changing a hearing aid battery get? Oh, this precise. Introducing the Energizer Easy Change, the world's first hearing aid battery dispenser. Simply turn the dial, then slide the battery out to activate. The magnetic arm holds the battery securely for precise placement every time, no matter what hearing aid style or battery size you use. The Energizer Easy Change. It changes batteries precisely.
They have more filling. Kellogg's Pastry Swirls. They're that good. Pent liquor.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go right now. Gotta go.
I have to go now.
If you've always got to go, ask your doctor about Detrol LA. It's been proven effective for overactive bladder.
You need a break? Not right now.
You shouldn't take it if you have stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache.
And I don't have to go right now.
Detrol LA, when you've always got to go.
Wish your dentures were this comfortable? Bob's denture adhesive is C-Bond, a thin, soft wafer that clings wall-to-wall with 3 adhesives. No gaps, no ooze. C-Bond. Buy it for hold.
Love it for comfort.
In Afghanistan, a tribal warlord has agreed to suspend his assault on the small town of Gardez until Friday. It is just one of many fierce power struggles that are threatening to destabilize Afghanistan. ABC's Hillary Brown has more from Kandahar.
Gardez is the scene of the first major battle in Afghanistan since the war, where anti-Taliban warlords are fighting each other. At least 50 were killed in Gardez last week. In a reminder of the civil war more than 20 years ago that killed 50,000. Hundreds of rival warlords fought for power in the vacuum that followed the end of the Soviet occupation. The question is, will the warlords gain the ascendancy again and ruin Afghanistan's chances for a stable future as a united country? The Afghan authorities are trying to break the warlords' power by creating a national army. Here in Kandahar, a commando unit is being trained as one part of this effort. The commander, Mohammed Shah, is a former warlord. General Shah says that factional fighting is finished here. We are united now, he says. We accept the authority of the new governor of Kandahar. But the governor's spokesman says the country could easily break up into warring factions again.
Oh, sure. I'm very much afraid. First of all, the potentials are there. Even in Kandahar, they are there. If somebody plays it wrong, definitely it will happen.
Recently, the police have started to confiscate weapons, arresting anyone caught smuggling arms. These men were picked up today with 20 boxes of ammunition hidden in their truck. This is the much larger arms cache of another militia leader who turned his weapons in. Like General Shah, Haji Bashar is a warlord who is going along with the government for the moment. It's our duty to cooperate, he says. The interim Prime Minister, Hamid Karzai, believes that another way to achieve national unity is to extend the international security force to cover the whole country. The State Department has endorsed the idea, but the Bush administration has yet to commit itself. Hillary Brown, ABC News, Kandahar.
And we'll be back.
The voice, unforgettable. The look, unmistakable. The man, Rod Stewart.
Wake up, Maggie, I think I got something to say to you.
The very best of Rod Stewart, a collection of landmark songs from one of rock's finest voices.
Tonight's the night.
Including Tonight's the Night, Do You Think I'm Sexy, Maggie May, Have I Told You Lately?
Have I told you lately that I love you?
Forever Young, Hot Legs, Reason to Believe, and many more.
Still I look to find a reason to believe.
Rod Stewart has sold over 120 million albums and become one of the greatest voices in popular music. Now, for the first time ever, all of Rod's greatest songs together on one CD. Just $18.98 plus $4.95 shipping and handling. Call now and receive a free Rod Stewart poster with your paid order.
And in my heart, you'll always stay forever young.
The very best of Rod Stewart. Over 70 minutes of classic Rod, including Some Guys Have All the Luck, You're in My Heart, This Old Heart of Mine.
This old heart of mine been broke 1,000 times each time you break away.
You Wear It Well, Rhythm of My Heart, and many more.
My heart is beating like a
The very best of Rod Stewart. 16 of Rod Stewart's original recordings are on this remarkable collection.
Will I see you tonight on a downtown train?
To order the very best of Rod Stewart, call the number on your screen or send $18.98 for one CD plus $4.95 shipping and handling to the address shown. Call now and receive a free Rod Stewart poster with your paid order. Rush delivery available.
What's better than getting more money back on your taxes? How about winning $1 million? Double check your taxes with H&R Block and you could win $1 million. The H&R Block $1 Million Giveaway. Call today to make an appointment.
Super Poly Grip holds for the whole day. I never worry about my dentures moving, and I can eat foods now that I never could eat before. Eating an apple is a wonderful experience now. Super Poly Grip really has given me my confidence back.
He'll take on an embezzler.
Where's the money, Beecham?
He'll go after a killer. And she's got the biggest problem of all.
Just give me some room.
New Blue. Then everything's heating up. And what happens next is anybody's guess.
It's definitely complicated.
New Philly. ABC this Tuesday. Viewer discretion advised.
Finally tonight, we ask the question, what's in a name? Well, a lot, if it happens to be on a stadium named for a once successful company now in trouble. ABC's David Wright on a relatively new tradition that seems to be on its way out.
In the 90s, corporate America paid a fortune to align itself with professional sports teams. In hindsight, some of those investments have become an embarrassment.
There it is!
Barry Bonds' 70th home run should be the signature image of Houston's Enron Field. But now the lasting image may be of Ken Lay throwing out that first pitch back in 1999.
Enron paid $100 million for the rights to name this ballpark for the next 30 years, and they're paid in full through August when their next installment's due. It would have to be approved by the bankruptcy judge, and that means the Astros could be stuck with the name for most of the season.
Enron Field isn't alone. Half a dozen marquees bear the names of failing companies. In many cases, the problem properties are high-tech casualties, and the fans won't much miss names like 3Com, Network Associates, or PSI Net.
No company really wants to be associated with a losing team or a perennial loser, and now I don't think any team in the country really wants to be associated with a losing company.
Just ask the fans in Houston.
Well, I think it would be perfect if they named it the Den of Thieves.
I think we should probably go ahead and leave it there as a reminder for us that, you know, no one's safe in corporate America.
It's a problem that both teams in the Super Bowl have to contend with. This week, the Rams announced they're phasing out the name of the TWA Dome. TWA no longer exists. And the Patriots may be shopping for a new sponsor even before they move into their new home. Neither team has to think about that today. Super Bowl 36 takes place in a stadium whose generic name couldn't be more appropriate for the occasion. It's called just the Superdome. David Wright, ABC News, Houston.
And that's our report this Sunday. I'm Carol Simpson. For all of us here at ABC News, have a good week and good night.
My name is Dr. Phil.
Oscar winner Robin Williams. In the network television premiere, Patch Adams, Monday, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The area's largest exclusive Chevy dealer has a special announcement for you.
GM and the Big C have put together an unprecedented special event. $2,002 off any new vehicle in our massive inventory.
$2,002 off every truck, 4x4, SUV, van, minivan, and car we sell.
A once-in-a-lifetime event from GM and the Big C.
A factory-authorized event of this special selection only at Volume Central.
2002, right here for you. Don't miss it.
The Big C near the Big E, West Springfield.
Where we always save you money.
This is a Manny's you've never seen before. Every family should have a washer, dryer, stove, refrigerator. And Manny's Scratch and Dent store, I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. The absolute lowest prices, layaway, whatever it takes. This is new appliances. They've been serviced by Manny's technicians, and they run great. One trip to Manny's Scratch and Dent store means no more trips to the laundromat. They'll save you some quarters.
News 40, in-depth coverage you can count on.